All right. Yeah, Toyratt 2023. Not really expected. I wasn't going there just to go there. I had a work dinner thing that I had to go to that night. It was a Wednesday in the middle of the week, and I rented this sick ass Mustang GT with a 5 liter, like 460 horsepower, 10 speed automatic. The thing was a blast to drive. I wanted to just rent something fun for the day, as again I had to drive up to this work dinner thing. But just so happened, like the last time I went to Toyratt, it was for the same reason. Is I'm basically passing right past Milton, which is where Toyratt is. So if I got a little bit of time to kill before the dinner, and I'm passing right by, of course, let's check it out. So get to Toyratt, of course. The entrance, as always, all the boom boxes, some really cool boxes for like Virtual Boy. Don't see that too often. All the Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance, DS is kind of right in the front when you walk in. Had one of those little Hyperkin. I forget what it's called, but it plays like game. I think it plays Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games. I remember when this came out, it was really weird because I think it played Game Boy games, but they're like, oh, it doesn't play Game Boy Advance games yet because we got to come out with the firmware upgrade, firmware update. Something weird. There was something weird with this thing when it launched with the firmware update. I don't know if it ever got good. I think it was a little sketchy at playing advanced games, to be honest. But I don't know. Maybe with firmware updates they got this thing worked out. I don't honestly know. I don't know if you guys know. Let me know if they got this thing sorted and it's worth checking out. You had like 3 of them there, different colors. This wall is pretty much not changed. It's all your Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision. The retro wall kind of works its way into Sega Genesis, Sega Master System. As always, there's a lot of stuff here to look at. It's a little overwhelming. A lot of boxed Genesis games and Master System games. Always fun to look at. I'm not really on the lookout for any Genesis or Master System games right now that I know of. So, again, it's cool to see. I wasn't really looking for any of this stuff. A lot of DS games. There was one game in particular I was looking for, but he didn't have. I'll mention that at the end of the video. Same with PS1. There's one PS1 game that I'm kind of on the lookout for. But other than that, yeah, NES, SNES, a lot of Super Famicom stuff. There's more of those Retron, whatever the Game Boy thing's called. TurboGrafx 16 and an orange N64. That is cool to see. Another kind of Retron clone. It looks like an HDMI one for the NES.
Cool looking.
Cool to see. Again, don't really need it,
NES
but
clone.
Cool to see nonetheless. As always, lots of GameCube games. Again, I'm not really on the lookout for any GameCube games. I just picked up Zelda Wind Waker for the GameCube. That's one of the few Zelda games I beat, and I do want to play again. So I recently picked that up for the GameCube. All the stuff in here, that's kind of always cool to look at, but yeah, lots of TurboGrafx 16 games. Sorry, I'm just filming with my camera, and this is kind of all over the place, but again, wasn't really planning on this, but I figured I'd make a video while I'm here. PlayStation 3 wall leads into the PS2 wall. Again, if you've never been here, it's really cool. But a little overwhelming. A green N64. So I got the orange one and the green one. I know those are both pretty sought after. Lots of Sega Saturn games there, as you saw. Lots of boxes up top. You always got to look up when you're in this store because there's a lot of cool stuff just hanging out up top. Classic Panasonic FZ1. Some Sega CD games, including Rise of the Dragon. This game is freaking awesome. I love this game. I've got a real copy, but I think it's just the disc. It's not the case, I think. Or maybe I printed my own case. I forget. But I have the real disc. I know that. Super Mario RPG, the modem for the GameCube. What else is in here? Snatcher for the Sega CD. A boxed Super Mario Brothers 3. Some Switch stuff. A Game Boy Micro. I don't see those too often anymore. It's one of the few Game Boy systems I don't own at this point. I owned one back in the day, but sold it. Now I regret it because they're worth a lot of money now. As always, I got lots of vinyl records and such. Compact discs and audio cassettes look like they're making a bit of a comeback. Some boxed Odyssey stuff. Again, gotta look up boxed 3DO. Lots of old school TVs. It looked like there was like some Sony PVRs up there. I should have asked about those. I don't know if those work or what's the deal with those. But anyways, let's see what I picked up. Alright, like I said, I didn't really get much. Wasn't going there with a plan. There was a couple of games I was looking for. Overwatch for PS1. Donkey Kong. What was it called? Like Donkey Kong 94, the one for the Game Boy. And Super Princess Peach for the DS. Those are like 3 games I've been looking out for a little while. And, of course, so I asked if you had those, and you didn't. So, again, wasn't really going there to buy a lot. It's just kind of on the way. And the few games that I'm really looking for, I didn't have. Again, if you would have had, like, Super Princess Peach, even if it's $150 for a complete copy, I probably would have bought it. Donkey Kong for Game Boy, whatever that game's going for these days, just for the loose cartridge, I would have bought it. But so yeah, didn't buy much here. In a way, I kind of just felt like I'm here. I should buy, I should buy something. And so, I don't know. This might seem kind of weird, the stuff that I did get, but yeah, just keep that in mind. Alrighty, I got a box for Super Mario Brothers 3. It's not in amazing condition. Let me turn the light up here. Yeah, it's not in amazing condition, but it's okay. The back is in really good condition, and the front, for the most part, is okay, except for up here. Yeah, obviously, it had the price tag here, and it probably had a sticker or something there that was holding it shut, but Super Mario Brothers 3, one of my favorite NES games, one that I owned back in the day, so I would have had it originally with the box, and, obviously now I've just got the cartridge, so, yeah. Boxes aren't really a thing I'm usually looking out for, unless they're like repros. Recently I picked up some reproduction boxes. Just games that I really want to have the box for. Super Mario Land was like one of the first Game Boy games that I went out and bought with like birthday money or something. And yeah, so, and they're cheap. The reproduction boxes are cheap and cheerful. But yeah, I saw that, and I just made an offer on it. Again, not in perfect condition, but it's still kind of cool just to have the original box. This thing's even weirder, honestly. This is a Game Boy fanny pack, and again, it's not in the greatest condition. It's kind of worn out, and honestly, I don't know. I felt sorry for it, and I felt like I'm there. I should buy something. So, again, you know what? Kind of cool. Throw the old IPS modded DMG. How gorgeous is that? Speaking of Donkey Kong for Game Boy, I just so happened to have that flashed on my EverDrive. I was giving it a quick try because I never actually played this game before. But yeah, how gorgeous is that? An original DMG with the IPS screen in there. Oh my god. But yeah, it's a fanny pack, Game Boy fanny pack. I just figured I've got a lot of Game Boys, and some are just extras and whatnot, so I figured what the hell. Again, it's in terrible condition. I kind of just felt like, I don't know, I'll grab it because I can put my Game Boys in it. And, well, actually, I'll save that for last. I got this Wii to HDMI. I don't know. I've always wondered about these. I'm not even sure if they work off like S-Video or if they're actually working off of RGB or component. In other words, is it actually doing progressive scan or is it deinterlacing? Because, it could be really good if it's actually using, 480p from RGB or component and converting that to HDMI. But is it just using composite or S-Video and then deinterlacing that, in which case it could kind of suck. I don't know. Always been curious about these things because they're super cheap. That's like $15. And yeah, it just plugs into the back of a Wii. It gives you a straight up HDMI port. And you can find these on Amazon for $15 pretty much all day long. In Canada, $15 Canadian. So it's not like, I don't know. I just thought, let's try it. It's interesting. Again, I don't know if it's actually doing 480p, or if it's doing 480i and then deinterlacing it, just like those cheap, shitty scaler things. Anyways, last but not least, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3 for Game Boy Advance. Again, I was looking out for Game Boy games. I was kind of hoping they would have Super Mario Kart, Super Circuit for GBA, Donkey Kong for Game Boy. So, I don't know. Again, just kind of grabbed this. It's a cool little game. I'm not sure how good the GBA port is. Obviously, it's cropped. Is it worth playing it this way over just playing it on the Super Nintendo? Honestly, I don't know. But again, just kind of for the sake of I was there and I felt like I should pick up some stuff. It was dead in there, as you saw in the video. And, that got me a little worried. Like, how is business doing for this guy? Is it always this dead? And so, I checked some, kind of like Facebook reviews or whatever, Google reviews. And I don't know, it seems to be doing all right. People are still leaving really good reviews. All the latest, if you look by the newest reviews, they're all still good. So I don't know. I think he's doing all right. But, maybe it's like he's more busy on the weekends. And I was there on a Wednesday. So, yeah. I wanted to support the business while I was there, even though there was nothing specifically. The things that I specifically wanted, he didn't have, but I still felt like, I should just buy some stuff. And, yeah, it was kind of random. But nonetheless, cool to check out. And the fucking Mustang was awesome. I didn't want to give that thing back.